Tonight, live at 5.
His name is Buddy, and it's his first year showing, and he's 6 years old.
It's an annual tradition that celebrates the achievements of bright young agricultural enthusiasts. 4-H Day at the X tonight.
Star Dobson, Bruce Frisco, Steve Murphy, Maria Panavalis, and meteorologist Cindy Day. This is CTV News, live at 5.
Hello and welcome to Live at 5 from Monday the 15th of August. I'm Star Dobson and you are?
Well, I'm Bruce Frisco. I thought you looked kind of familiar.
It's been a while.
It has been a while since both of us were here, in fact.
Yes, but we picked a good day to team up again because it is Fête Nationale de l'Acadie, and our CTV reporters spent the day getting their Acadian on in these stories.
I'm Nick Moore in Memramcook, New Brunswick, and this is where National Acadian Day was actually born. Memramcook is just one of the cities and towns in our region celebrating this special day in Acadian culture, and we'll take you on a tour coming up live at 5.
I'm Jill Matthews in Grand Pré, Nova Scotia. This National Historic Site is a place of remembrance today as Acadians gather to observe National Acadian Day. We'll show you how they're recognizing their culture and heritage coming up on Live at 5.
Little things like footwork and, taking the proper steps and hand placement, catching the ball with their hands. Go.
Also ahead, passing and punting pointers from the pros. We'll hit the gridiron to touch base with some special guests to our region a little later on this Monday night.
Even though it may sound a little bit hard, that's not the purpose of Ramadan.
Also tonight, fasting with your health in mind. Our Live at 5 house call will serve up some Ramadan advice aimed at feeding your body and spirit. That's coming up a little later.
Plus, we will welcome the editor of a new book that celebrates the unexpected joys of aging. Find out why Sherry Graydon says, "I feel great about my hands." First, though, it's time for the news headlines. For those, we will turn to Steve Murphy. Steve.
Thank you, Star, and a good day, everyone. Tonight here on CTV News at 6 o'clock. As we told you Friday, the federal government is in, throwing its weight and today its money behind a new convention center for Halifax. The Defence Minister Peter MacKay, who's also Central Nova MP, announcing more than $50 million in funding for the new downtown project. We'll have details in reaction and a conversation with Peter MacKay coming up on CTV News at 6. Also tonight, an investigation into the murder of a man over the weekend is focusing on the whereabouts of a man and a woman who were seen leaving the victim's home on Friday. 58-year-old Paul Livingstone died of a gunshot wound. Police believe his death was not a random act. More on this tonight at 6. And the fluctuating value of the Canadian dollar is causing headaches for businesses around here, businesses that depend on tourism, in particular visitors from the USA. Some vendors say the ups and downs are having a big impact on their bottom line. We'll add it up tonight at 6. Right now to meteorologist Cindy Day in the CTV Weather Center, and some rain on the way.
That's right, Steve, but it's all about timing. Many Maritimers, most of us in fact, enjoyed a beautiful weekend. 29 in Fredericton yesterday, mid to upper 20s everywhere, lots of sunshine. Today we saw a little bit of sun, but that's not going to last too much longer. Have a look at the storm tracker. We've been watching that area of moisture make its way from the eastern seaboard of the United States up into the Bay of Fundy, and the rain will become heavier through the evening hours. If we step back, we see there's a lot of moisture streaming down along the east coast, and in fact, that system should and could have pushed off to the east had it not been for Tropical Storm Gert. Gert is keeping that trough along the eastern seaboard, and that's why the moisture is funneling up into the Bay of Fundy and will across the Maritimes overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. I'll tell you how much rain is coming, when that will move out a little later on in the show. Steve?
All right, Cindy, thanks. First forecast at 5:30, an update with national conditions, the 7-day forecast, and more on Gert on CTV News at 6. Also on our news tonight, a new 4-lane highway has some residents in smaller communities in southern New Brunswick quite concerned. They're afraid that the new road is going to pass them by. More on that story with the rest of the day's news. Coming up here at 6 o'clock right after Live at 5. Bruce and Star back together again.
Thank you, Steve. Well, first at 5 tonight, we're celebrating Acadian Pride. August 15th has been National Acadian Day for more than 125 years now.
La Fête Nationale de l'Acadie celebrates all things Acadian, the culture, the heritage, the food, and the Tintamarre.
That's right. In a few moments, we're going to head to Nova Scotia's Annapolis Valley to see how people there are marking the occasion. But first, we're off to New Brunswick, where CTV's Nick Moore spent much of the day in the capital of Acadie. Isn't that right, Nick?
Well, Bruce, that's kind of a loaded question because on a day like today, National Acadian Day, all that Acadian pride that we see all year long in this region, well, it's really put on display on a day like today. You could say it all started here in Memramcook. It was in this small southeastern New Brunswick village at the very first National Acadian Convention in 1881 that August 15th was chosen to be National Acadian Day. But the roots to being an important center in Acadian culture run even deeper in Memramcook.
1755, the Acadians, when they were deported, Memramcook is one of the first places that they came to install themselves. So they had to hide in the fields and hide in the woods and all that. And Memramcook is one of those places.
Go further north, and the ante of Acadian pride is upped. Residents of St. Louis de Kent, New Brunswick, woke up early this morning to raise the world's largest Acadian flag, it too having significance here.
Because the flag originated from St. Louis. It was a young boy born in St. Louis in 1847 that brought the French flag with the star on it to the second Acadian Convention in Miscouche in 1884, and it was adopted there.
Urban centers in our region also lay a claim to being the capital of Acadie. Dieppe dubs itself as having the largest Acadian population of any city in the world. And nearby in Moncton, the city says it too has a large French-speaking Acadian population, so much so that the hub is Canada's only officially bilingual city.
We have a large majority of our population that are of Acadian descent and Acadian culture. We also have many institutions, as you know, l'Université de Moncton, l'Assomption Vie, and many others that I could mention that, are part of the mosaic of Moncton.
Even centers which aren't really known for having a large Acadian population couldn't help but get in on today's party. Staff at the New Brunswick Museum in St. John celebrated with music and Acadian dancing lessons for tourists who dropped by, including these Korean visitors who sailed into the port city aboard a cruise ship. But no matter where the events were happening today, Acadians say the most important thing is to remember and celebrate.
To not forget the tragedies, but more importantly, to show that we are resilient and we're here to stay and we're proud that we have those same qualities that our ancestors brought many, many hundreds of years ago.
I'm very proud of my culture and my family, and as an Acadian whose family has been here for 400 years, I believe it's important to keep celebrating and just be part of the culture.
Something Acadians say is important to do each day of the year. And the party isn't over yet. The flagship event of these National Acadian Day events is just about to begin, the Tintramar. It's beginning very shortly in Dieppe at 5:30, and it begins at 6 o'clock in St. Louis de Kent, Cap-Palais, Caraquet, Memramcook, and Shediac. And it was held earlier today in Bucktouche. I was in Memramcook at the time, and I think I could have heard it from Memramcook. So definitely a big party here in this region right now.
Oh, it's great to hear the noise.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Nick.
You're very welcome.
CTV's Nick Moore reporting live this evening from Moncton. Bruce?
While many Acadians in the Maritimes are celebrating today in their respective communities, others took the time to gather in a special place of commemoration. An afternoon of remembrance and celebration was held at the Grand Pré National Historic Site in honor of its rich Acadian history. And our Jill Matthews was there as visitors reflected on the triumphs and tragedies of the Acadian spirit.
Prions le Seigneur. Ô Seigneur, écoute et prends pitié.
It's a service to remember and reflect on the storied history of the Acadians, one that is closely tied to this National Historic Site.
So Grand Pré talks about who they were, and this is where the Acadians can come back home and find about who they are.
Dozens of Acadians reconnected with their roots today by visiting the grounds. It was once the heart of an Acadian settlement with more than 2,000 inhabitants, a prosperous community until they were forced from the land by the British in 1755. Today it remains a gathering place for their ancestors.
It gives a true meaning of what took place and what they had gone through and how they were persecuted and had to flee away and were sent away, and families were split up and sent to different places to break the community and their spirit. And so we're here to remember that today.
While the site has a somber past, the deportation doesn't define it. Instead, Grand Pré has become a site where Acadians can be at peace with their hardships.
It's really quite a a feat to be able to tell such a terrible story in a way that people have a sense of peace. So I think we're always dealing with the two sides of happiness and sadness together in a way that makes us whole.
Visitors marked their shared history at the site with symbols of l'Acadie, faith, music, and cultural pride that have all helped shape who they are.
I think today we can safely say that they know who they are. And I even go further in saying that the Acadians are one of the lucky people because they really know where they're from.
A strong connection to the past that has helped Acadians not only survive, but thrive. Jill Matthews, CTV News, Grand Pré, Nova Scotia.
Thank you very much, Jill.
And one final note on this National Acadian Day. Nova Scotians will soon be able to display their Acadian pride on their vehicles. A new optional French language license plate was unveiled today.
The winning design was chosen by more than 1,500 Nova Scotians, and it will be available in January. Standard vehicle registration fees will apply, along with a $50 donation to a soon-to-be established Acadian Cultural Fund.
Look for it on a car near you soon. Well, we're going to take our first break now, but much more coming your way in this Monday night, including a busy edition of Section 6 and a celebration of all things agricultural at a maritime exhibition.
But up next, safe fasting for Ramadan.
Don't fill up on the volume from fluid that you might need actually to fill up from the nutrients of food first.
Our Live at 5 house call makes sure you stay healthy during this holy month. That's when we return. Live at 5 will be right back. Please stay with us.
It's the Top 12. Mary Murphy is back.
I'm just having a love fest with the Canadian dancers.
Only a dozen dancers are left. They're going to do everything they can.
You guys are over here, over there, up, down, all over the place.
To dance another day and be crowned
You're on fire!
Canada's favorite dancer.
You are on the sexy Rexy rocket to the stars.
A new episode of So You Think You Can Dance Canada. Tonight at 8, 7 Central on CTV.
Right now, close a great deal on your new Nissan. Get in with 0% financing for up to 84 months on select 2011 models like Rogue for only $140 bi-weekly. Close a great deal. Hurry into your Nissan retailer today.
Hi, I'm Simon from Amherst, and this is my Nova Scotia. Local food is big here, so visit the Wild Blueberry Harvest Festival going on throughout central Nova Scotia, August 19th to September 3rd. Check out the Atlantic Canada Harmonica Festival, Lake Charlotte on August 20th. Seafood, fresh food. Come and taste our way of life. Visit novascotia.com to plan your trip. We've got a seat at our table just for you. So, when are you coming?
This room could use some freshening up. Let's rearrange the furniture.
Okay.
To the left, a bit more. You've almost got it. Keep going. Almost. Perfect!
Leon's once-a-year Power Buys event is the perfect time to redecorate. Our massive buying power gets you the lowest prices of the summer, and you don't pay for 18 months.
Now this room looks beautiful.
Honey, a little to the left.
That's Granite Man entertaining tourists in uptown St. John today. The street performer and many others had a busy day today with a couple of cruise ships docked in the port city. You never know when or where Granite Man will show up, so keep your eyes peeled if you're ever in uptown St. John. He's good, isn't he?
He is fantastic. Solid as a rock, that
solid
guy.
As a rock. Rock solid.
Well, across the Maritimes, members of the Islamic community are in the middle of observing Ramadan. The month-long religious celebration is most often associated with daytime fasting.
But experts say there's a right and a wrong way to fast. This Live at 5 house call serves up some advice now to keep everybody healthy and happy during Ramadan.
It's lunchtime, but Alla DeBoer George won't be partaking in a midday meal today. As a member of our region's growing Islamic community, Alla is in the middle of observing Ramadan. It's a month-long religious celebration that involves giving thanks, making sacrifices, and fasting from sunrise to sundown.
In the Muslim world, it's a festive month where families get together to have that meal where you break your fast together.
The fasting associated with Ramadan means nothing to eat or drink, not even water during daylight hours. It's a key part of the month, but experts say it's important to fast properly to avoid health concerns such as weight gain and dehydration. Dietitian Anna Threadcraft recommends observers of Ramadan pray, spelled P-R-A-E. P stands for portion.
When you are breaking the fast, as much as you're hungry and want to eat a lot at one time, take your time and start with small portions.
After a full day of fasting, it can be tempting to fill up quickly, but piling up a large plate can also mean packing on the pounds. R stands for rehydrate.
A lot of times it's better to start drinking your fluids after you've eaten so you don't fill up on the volume from fluid that you might need actually to fill up from the nutrients of food first.
A stands for avoid. There are plenty of treats available after sundown, but not all of them are healthy.
But when you're breaking the fast, avoid the fried and the high sugar options. Sometimes those things in too much of amount can cause some gastrointestinal distress.
Finally, E stands for exercise. Fasting shouldn't be used as an excuse to let physical activity go by the wayside.
If you find that your energy levels are lower by the end of the day, get in that physical activity and exercise in the morning time. Even as simple as 10 to 15 minutes of exercise 3 times a week is much better than nothing at all.
To Alla, Ramadan is a special time and one she looks forward to every year.
Even though it may sound a little bit hard, that's not the purpose of Ramadan. This is just one way for us to control our cravings so that we can actually appreciate what we have and connect more to people that are less fortunate.
With a little planning, Ramadan can be a spiritual month and a healthy one too.
Exactly.
That is interesting.
It is, and there are certain groups who are exempt from fasting during Ramadan. For example, pregnant or breastfeeding women or people with medical conditions. They have the option of making up the fast at a later date or donating money to charity instead.
Well, that's a good idea, for sure. Okay, coming up next, meet the editor behind a collection of stories from Canadian women over 50. We'll chat about I Feel Great About My Hands and other unexpected joys of aging when we come back.
101.3 The Bounce. Halifax's #1 hit music station. The most hit music is on 101.3 The Bounce.
We asked our farmers from coast to coast to try our new Lay's Kettle Cooked potato chips.
Ooh, they're different. It's good.
Bill, my favorite.
Is that real ketchup? Yep.
We know our new Lay's Kettle Cooked potato chips, made with all natural flavors, are good. Our farmers told us so.
When you take Best Buy back to school, we'll help you find all the right technology to carry fewer books, take incredibly detailed notes while conserving energy, and stream important research materials. At Best Buy, we've got all the right technology to make this the best year ever. This week, save on a huge selection of HP, like this HP laptop with Intel Core i3, just $479.99. Best Buy.
Power and performance will fill the sky as the Air Show flies into Summerside, PEI, August 27th and 28th. The world's fastest pickup truck races airplanes as Team Chaos brings their explosive act to this year's show. Their surprise finale will blow you away. Buy tickets online or at Mark's Work Warehouse and be entered to win a trip for two from WestJet. Only the first 5,000 fans will be automatically entered and proceeds go to Make-A-Wish. The Atlantic Canada International Air Show at the Summerside Airport. Presented by the Atlantic Superstore.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Leon's once-a-year Power Buys event, featuring exceptionally low prices on hundreds of amazing products.
Well, Sky and Crash were being particularly vocal today at their home in the Two Rivers Wildlife Park in Marion Bridge. The bald eagles were injured, I should say, and neither can fly. The feathered friends, just two of the many residents visitors to the park can observe and learn a little bit more about. There's also this very cute baby moose and a whole lot of other critters at Two Rivers as well. Okay, time to check in with Star.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, our guest tonight is an editor who shares stories from extraordinary women over the age of 50 who are celebrating their maturity. If you remember Nora Ephron's collection of essays called I Feel Bad About My Neck, you will appreciate the title of this new book, I Feel Great About My Hands and Other Unexpected Joys of Aging. We are very pleased to welcome Sherry Graydon to Live at 5 tonight to tell us more about it. Thanks for coming in, Sherry, and it's nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's a delight to be here.
Let's start by talking about the title. Why do you feel so great about your hands?
They do lots of great things. You know, they keep me fed. I'm a writer, and so typing is one of the things I do for my living. I also spent 3 years in my early 20s as a shiatsu therapist. So I can arrive anywhere without flowers, wine, or chocolates and still be welcome.
Now, what type of reaction did you get from the women you approached to contribute stories to this book?
Universally, they all wanted to read the book. They didn't all want to contribute. Most of the women I approached did contribute, but a few of them were wrestling with illness or they had just lost someone, and so celebrating age was not sort of on their agenda. But virtually every woman I contacted said, yes, we need a book like this. If you write it, I'd love to contribute. I have 10 women I would like to give it to.
Let's talk about your reader, because obviously I stated at the beginning that your contributors are 50 and over.
Right.
Do you want to target this book just at women who are 50 and over to read it, or is your audience hopefully broader than that?
No, I think the audience is definitely broader. The events that we've had, like the ones we're doing tomorrow, we've had men, we've had much younger women, we've had 22-year-old women coming up at the end and saying, I can't wait to be 50.
Oh, wow.
Which was a really affirming thing to hear. And so, yeah, we think the topic speaks to women of all ages, and certainly men increasingly are targeted by anti-aging messages as well.
Now, you included some stories in here from Maritimers, from some women from our region. I'm curious to know, was their perspective different based on their location, comparatively speaking, with others?
Not really. I mean, all of the submissions are so different. So there's 41 voices. There are 41 perspectives and celebrations of really different aspects of aging. So I wouldn't say, I mean, the Atlantic contributions are all beautifully written. They're funny, they're provocative, they're thoughtful. Dawn Ray Downton, Carol Bruneau, Sherry Fitch, and of course Mary Walsh. Wonderful contributions, all of them.
You just mentioned the word funny. Let's talk about humor, because there are many parts in this book that made me laugh out loud. How important is humor to aging gracefully?
For me, it's a critical ingredient, really. I think optimism and gratitude and the capacity to find humor in, you know, sometimes not very appealing circumstances is pretty critical. So,
you've broken the book into different categories, and they include subjects such as learning, celebrating, surviving, and knowing. What's your favorite? Which one do you like best?
Well,
which category?
You know, I don't have a favorite category, and I'll say that when I was editing them, I had 41 submissions, and most of them I could have put in 2 or 3 different categories because they crossed over. Ones that honored someone, a role model, were also in essence a celebration of aging. all of them reflect some kind of learning or knowing about what it's like to have a few years under your belt and have a change of perspective that comes from that. So
now the contributors to the book have agreed to donate the royalties that come as a result to a charity called Media Action. Tell us a bit about that.
So Media Action essentially lobbies and educates and does research to improve the portrayal and representation of women in the media. And expressly, the donations from this book, the royalties from this book, go to support a project called Informed Opinions, which is training women who are expert in their fields to write opinion pieces and to say yes to media interviews. Because in public discourse, in talk shows, on opinion pages in newspapers, male voices outnumber women by about 4 or 5 to 1. And there's no good reason for that. It's partly that women, typically when they're asked to be an expert, they say, well, I'm really not the best person. And men tend not to say that.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and sharing some of the information that's contained in this book with us. You'll want to pick it up and read it. Sherry Graydon is the editor of I Feel Great About My Hands and Other Unexpected Joys of Aging. She'll also be a special guest at the Halifax Club Literary Luncheon tomorrow from noon to 2. And there's a free public event at the Nova Scotia Art Gallery tomorrow night beginning at 7 o'clock. Thanks again, Sherry.
Thank you so much.
Bruce?
All right, now we'd like to introduce you to the Maritimers who marked milestones yesterday, as well as those who have reason to celebrate tonight, on Monday night. We'll begin by wishing Effie and Albert McNeil a happy 50th anniversary. Congratulations extended to the New Waterford, Nova Scotia couple. Yesterday, also a 50th anniversary for Wilbur and Agnes Doucette of Pinckney's Point, Nova Scotia. They have many loved ones thinking of them. And Clifford and Joyce Gardner were also married 50 years ago yesterday. Warm thoughts sent to the Sydney Mines couple. It was a 60th anniversary yesterday for Muriel and George Townsend of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. They too have many friends and relatives wishing them well. And Fred and Mabel Hawker celebrated 65 years as husband and wife yesterday. They live in Port Howe, Nova Scotia. Lots of love sent to them.
Turning our thoughts to tonight, it's a 50th anniversary for Ethel and Richard McCormick of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Much love comes from all who know them. As they looked on their wedding day 50 years ago, meet Edna and William McDonald of Florence, Nova Scotia. Warm wishes come from their many loved ones. And this photograph was taken 60 years ago on the wedding day of Wendell and Jean Dow. Best wishes are sent to the Heartland, New Brunswick pair. And finally, we would like to wish Paul and Kay Foster a happy 60th anniversary. Congratulations are extended to the Florenceville, New Brunswick couple. So congratulations to you if you're celebrating. You can watch your milestone again by visiting our website, www.ctvatlantic.ca.
Time now to check in with Cindy Day for a little preview of tonight's weather forecast. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, Bruce. Welcome back, by the way. I know your weather wasn't the greatest during your vacation. Today was I'd say a day of transition where not many of us saw a lot of rain, but that's about to change with rain coming in tonight. No rain in this lovely shot. Beautiful day in the apple orchard in the Annapolis Valley. It might seem hard to believe, but it won't be too much longer before the apples you see on these trees will be ready to pick and baked in some delicious pies. One of the best things about fall in the Maritimes, those great apples. I'll have your complete forecast coming up right after the break.
CTV and CTV2 have the hottest returning shows, plus the most anticipated new shows. Be the first to see what's coming during the CTV Fall Preview Tour. We're crossing the country to bring you an exclusive sneak peek, comfort giveaways, including a chance to pick up a collector Pan Am bag.
Adventure calls.
And enjoy your free preview in the Pan Am Screening Lounge. Catch the tour in Halifax at Micmac Mall, Friday, and coming soon to Montreal.
A Febreze experiment. The Set and Refresh versus musty small space odors. We took real people to a filthy hotel to see if it worked.
Take a deep breath. What do you smell?
There's a freshness. Actually, it takes me outdoors.
Apples and pears.
Sort of a crisp, fresh feeling. Go ahead and take your blindfold off.
No.
With scented oils that eliminate odors for up to 30 days, the Febreze Set and Refresh, so you can breathe happy, guaranteed.
Hello, Anna McGoldrick here, inviting you to join me for my Irish